Okay, let's see who we're gonna start with. We have Anna Petrus. Did I say your name right? Oh, one moment. Anna, do I have you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Where are you? Oh, there you are. Awesome. Hi, Anna. How are you today?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Awesome. Okay, Anna, do you mind introducing us to the students? Introduce yourself to the students.
Okay, sure. I'll also give you a heads up that my internet is already very sketchy. It's freezing on and off. So somebody send a signal if it do this, if it's just okay.
Oh,
so
don't
my
worry
name
about it.
is and it's so great to see so many people, and I was watching as much as I could last night. It was really, really impressive, and there was such great interaction between the panelists and all the attendees, so congrats. I'm Anna, and I am the program director at Nifco. I have a background in filmmaking and went to film school and all those things. And I oversee the various programs and workshops, classes. We offer workshops, classes, programs at all different levels of filmmaking, entry level to mid-career, and launching people into their first features and television series. And all the panelists you've been seeing in the last 2 days are alumni of our programs. So we're very proud of all of them. And I work with Janice, who's here, if she can wave. We work closely together at Nifco, and Nifco is also the main post-production facility for Newfoundland. So I don't know if everybody knows that. That's where all of the finishing on Hudson and Rex happens. So the film, the whole series, and Republic of Doyle in those days, and lots of post on all the other shows and independent features, short films, basically everything. So that would be the online editing, color correct, all the sound. Actors come to record their ADR. I don't know if anyone does. That's when they replace their lines that didn't get recorded well enough on the day. And we do casting at Nifco, and that's all in addition to all the classes and programs we run. And we have equipment. So that's a little snapshot.
So if I understand correctly, Nifco is also a production company, but also that gives classes and programs?
Maybe Janice wants to take that one.
Oh, go ahead, Janice. Definitely.
It's actually a co-op. It stands for Newfoundland Independent Filmmakers Co-op, and we were formed in 1975. And Nifco is run by filmmakers for filmmakers. So the concept of a co-op is that it's a membership-driven organization. And so to be a member, you have to be a filmmaker. You have to have earned a certain number of credits on a film. And then you get a say in how we run the organization. And it's a not-for-profit. So when we earn revenue from things like the television show Hudson and Rex, which we're doing the post-production for, we invest it back into the co-op to run these programs that Anna is talking about. And our mandate is just to do anything we can to support filmmakers and filmmaking in Newfoundland and Labrador.
That's wonderful. So Janice, I'll stay with you. What is your advice for students who want to enter the film industry?
Well, I think this is a really good jumping off point. Enter a competition, enter a wonderful competition and attend this symposium. Make films, just, dream your dreams and turn your ideas into what we used to call celluloid. It's so much more accessible these days than it was in 1975 when Nifco formed. But then if you really have a serious passion that you really think, you're wondering, is this something that I could possibly do for my whole life? I would definitely invite you to come to Nifco and to talk to Anna and to me. We, as Anna said, we have, all of our members are filmmakers and have advice to give and experiences to share with budding filmmakers who might want to do a first-time film at Nifco, or do a film class, or go on to film school, or find an entry into any of the films and television shows that are going on here.
That's wonderful. And I also wonder, what is the relationship of Nisco with the community here, with the province? Can you share some of that?
Sure. Nifco, as I said, was formed in 1975. So in some ways, we were the beginning of what is now this amazing film industry here in Newfoundland and Labrador, you know, because it just started with a handful of filmmakers who wanted to have the tools and the means to make films and make it possible here. And so it's kind of out of Nifco and its founding philosophy that that filmmakers started to flourish, and then that we started to create a viable industry here. And as we've grown, we've continued to have relationships with all of the arts community in the province. So that's visual artists and musicians and dancers and the theater people. And we reach out to all across the island and to Labrador. We have relationships with filmmakers and organizations that support or screen films across the whole province.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And just to finish that part, how can students join classes and programs?
Anna, why don't you take that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we have a very, very active Facebook page. I know not everybody's on Facebook, so if you're not on Facebook, please find me or Janice or any of us really at Nifco. We're online at nifco.org, and you can just email us. Our emails are there. But other than that, all of our workshops, classes, everything, we just started doing in-person classes again in November after a hiatus for the pandemic. But we were online, very active. We have a lot of online workshops that are accessible for everybody anywhere. So just monitor that Facebook page. And there's also a monthly newsletter, which is really great. And you'll get to know all of our members and what's shooting in town. And we have filmmakers talking about their shoots, and that's a really fun thing. And if you go on the Facebook page, you can find our newsletter, and you can even read all of the past issues to really find out what we're up to and what all the members are up to. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna.
Thank
And
you.
we have Mary Sexton just join us. Hi, Mary. See, you're muted.
I guess I should unmute. Sorry. I realized what a streel I look like because it's been one of those days. So I went over to my house and changed, anyway, I didn't do a great job. But anyway, hi.
You look wonderful. We're happy that you're here. Mary, do you mind introducing yourself to the students, your background?
My name is Mary Sexton, and I am president and producer of Rinkrat Productions. I have several other production companies, and I had the privilege of actually working with Paul Pope and Janice Ripley, who I didn't realize would talk me into being in this industry many, many moons ago. I think it was 1992. And I've been very, very fortunate to be able to be a filmmaker and make films. And with the support of the NLFDC, of course, and Telefilm Canada and the Canadian Media, CMF, but now it's like CMF Telefilm. So my name is Mary Sexton, I'm a producer.
That's awesome. Do you mind sharing with us, how did you start in the industry?
Well, I kind of went into it kicking and screaming because I really didn't want to be in film and television. I had a vegetarian restaurant, and I had a vintage clothing store, which was my passion. And my brother Tommy at the time got me a job on Secret Nation. And I worked with Janice and Paul Pope on that production. And I realized that, yeah, I really did enjoy making, working with the team and making films and being part of a community that basically embraced people that wanted to do something different and make things that weren't just, you know, the norm, but, you know, go a little ahead of their time at that time, and do these, you know, comedic, you know, satiric dramas that, you know, really made me come to life. And I was very, very fortunate. I worked with those guys, and Janice and Paul helped me secure a job at the National Film Board. And I worked with the film board doing some documentary work. And I was very lucky. My brother, Tommy, who sort of got me into it, as I said, but I set up my own company in 1995 and started worked with Ed Rich and Andrew Younghusband and set up a company to make satiric comedy dramas, and I've been doing it ever since. I have to go back to locations all the time to pay for my projects, but other than that, I'm very happy, content producer.
Amazing. And for students who do see themselves producing, filmmaking, being behind a camera, what do you advise them to focus on this early on?
Well, you know, how do I, business affairs, contracts have become a very, very important part of anyone's copyright. What you make, you own. And if it's not written, it's not there in the first place. So you always have to keep eye on detail. Keep your eye on the prize, but also keep your eye on the details of making what you want to make, and making sure that you are covered through the banks, through, you know, because what ends up happening in production, I find, and I've been unfortunate in some cases, but fortunate in others, that, you know, you're the last one to be paid out. So you have to make sure that you have your contracts in place. And if there is any kind of spin-off, or, you know, it's kind of an oxymoron distribution within Canada, but we've learned now with the series that we've been doing that we can sell to the world, and the world is waiting for projects. So make sure that you have your contracts in place, have a good lawyer, have a good business affairs person, and accounting. We need accountants, we need business affairs. You know, people think that those are the boring jobs. Those are the jobs that we really, really need people to sign up for.
Mm-hmm.
And directing and acting and all those other things. But, you know, for a producer, when I see someone who has a smart mind and is organized and has that, you know, Janice Ripley was one of the first people that I ever saw that was as organized as anything. She would know exactly what the sweet spot was in a financial structure, what we could work to get to. And you need to be able to start thinking about that. And it's a business. This is not just a hobby, it's a business, and make sure you treat it as a business.
So you have a role in this. There's a lot of roles, so you can fill in. Okay, thank you so much for that, Mary.
No problem.
And we're going to move to, let's see, we have Allison Short. Hi, Allison.
Hi.
How are you? Thank
Good,
you for
how are
joining.
you?
Amazing. Do you mind, let's start with you introducing yourself to the students.
So my name's Allison Short. I'm here representing Atlantic Studios Cooperative, and we are the rental house here in St. John's. We rent film equipment, mainly grip and lighting equipment, to all of the productions of all sizes. So whether it's a small independent shoot with just 2 people, all the way to, we did rented Disney gear, of course, Hudson and Rex, Astrid and Lily, all the productions here in the city, we provide the equipment to for them. And we are a co-op as well. So again, we are very excited to help any filmmaker. So we obviously, depending on budgets and sizes of crew and stuff, we take all of that into account. And yeah, we just like supporting the community.
That's awesome. How do you end up working in that kind of job?
Well, I was dragged, but not so kicking and screaming. But I was brought into the film industry by Mary Sexton. Somewhat of a similar story. I didn't own the restaurant, but I was working in a restaurant, and I knew Mary, and I'm friends with Mary's son, and you know, as it all goes. And she gave me my very first job in the film industry, and that was almost 20 years ago now. Hatching and Matching was what, 2003? Yeah. So close to 20 years ago. And from there, she gave me a job as a set PA. And then I went back to film. So then I decided I really enjoyed film. I really felt like it was my first time on a set, and I absolutely loved it. I loved all aspects of it. So I went to go to film school. And when I went to film school, I went to the Vancouver Film School, and my intention was to become a producer. And of course, when I got there, I did my first camera and lighting class, and I completely changed my mind and realized that's exactly what I wanted to do. So for the last probably 15 years or so, I worked in Vancouver in the camera department through IATSE 669. I worked there in various roles, and I'm still an active member as a focus puller. You may not know what that is, but you will learn. And yeah, and then after that, I actually went back teaching at the Vancouver Film School for a little while, and then just moved back to Newfoundland just before COVID. So from here, I'm just kind of finding my legs and doing some work, and I went into a position at ASCO, and yeah, it's been fantastic.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. And let's see, let's move to another of our guests. We have Dorian Rowe. Did I say your name? Awesome.
Hi. Thanks
Hi,
for having me.
Dorian.
Great
Thank
to
you
be
for
here.
being here. Do you mind also sharing, introducing yourself?
My name is Dorian Rowe. I'm the Executive Director and Film Commissioner of the Newfoundland and Labrador Film Development Corporation, NLFDC for short. So we're a provincial government crown corporation. So the chair of our board reports to a minister of the provincial government. Basically in Canada, as many of you will know, there's a lot of different sources of federal support for film and television, like Telefilm Canada, National Film Board, Canada Council, that sort of thing. But then every province and territory has an entity similar to what the NLFDC does to support the growth of film and television and screen industries in general in their province or territory. So that's what we do. So we have a number of different programs. We're the Film Commission, which means that we promote Newfoundland and Labrador as a place to film or to do co-productions. We also field inquiries when somebody has questions about shooting here from away. They tend to come through us. And then, so that's one aspect of what we do. And then we have several investment programs, a tax credit program, a development program, and a equity program for film and TV. And then we also have sponsorships and professional development programs, and partner with all sorts of organizations like the festivals and Nifco and so on all sorts of different initiatives. And also individuals can come to us for sponsorship opportunities and professional development opportunities.
That's wonderful. And how can I say it? How do you choose the projects? Are there any, any rubric? Like, how do you choose that?
Yeah, well, it depends again on the program, but so for us, with the sponsorship and professional development programs, filmmakers of any kind, writers, directors, filmmakers, or specialized training type things for grips or electrics or any of that can work. But for our other programs, the producer, the production company is our main clients. So for the development and equity and tax credit programs, which are the ones that invest in actually helping to make film and television projects, it tends to be producers that are the main applicants to us for those.
I see. Okay. And if somebody wants their film to be sponsored, what do you think, or get financial help, what would you advise them?
Well, the first thing would be to contact us. It sort of depends on what the project is and where they're at, you know, on the arc of their career. So sometimes we are happy to be able to put, you know, smaller amounts into a specific film in some way. Other times, if you have other sources of funding, you can come to us with those, and we sort of partner on things. We help with we're one of the partners on the Nifco Picture Star program. That's just one example. But it really depends on what the particular thing is. But I would say to anybody who's interested at all to contact me, or just write us at info@nlfdc.ca, or contact Laura Churchill, my colleague who does the professional development sponsorship stuff. And I'd also like to blame Nifco and Mary Sexton for my career. All roads seem to lead to those, and Paul Pope. I see Paul is there too. So that's how I got into this.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Dorian. I'll be back with you with more questions. Let's also introduce Natasha Jeffrey. Hi, Natasha.
Hi, nice to see
Hi.
everybody.
So nice to have you here. Do you mind introducing yourself? What do you do?
Sure.
Mhm.
I'm the business agent for IATSE Local 709, and I vow to never memorize what IATSE stands for. So IATSE is the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, Moving Pictures Technicians, Artists, and Allied Crafts of the United States, its territories, and Canada. So that's why we call ourselves IATSE, or IATSE. And the local here in a jurisdiction in Newfoundland and Labrador is Local 709. And so anybody who works on a film in sort of a technician's capacity would generally be covered under Local 709, whether as a member of the union or as a permit on a show working in one of those positions. And my job as the business agent is to negotiate with the producers who are filming their projects here in this jurisdiction, the details of the contract. So we have like a standard contract that if anyone is looking to get into film and television, I highly recommend just looking through all of the contracts here, like through DGC, ACTRA, and IATSE, and the camera locals as well, just to be aware of kind of what the expectations are for producers as an employer, and then also what your rights and responsibilities are as a member working on a film set. And so my job is to negotiate those terms. There's a standard, and then through production, depending on what their, if it's a movie or if it's a television show, if it's a long shoot, a short shoot, there are some kind of common variances that are requested by the unions, and then some not so common, and then they're just negotiated between the production and then our executive board, and I would be the in-between for all those terms. And I have a business background, so it kind of makes sense for me to be in this role, but between me graduating from Memorial University's business program and becoming the business agent, I've sort of meandered through a bunch of different avenues within film.
So you basically represent the union of the actors, correct?
Not the actors, the technicians. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put our website up. So anybody who's interested can go to the website, and it'll give you, you can download our collective agreement in case you want to read it before you go to bed at night. There's also an area where you can reach out to us if you have any questions. If you're interested in any of the positions that we represent, you can send us a resume, and I keep this shareable folder between the producers and production managers of any of the productions that are happening in town that are unionized, where I just have each department and then anyone who sent in their resume and has shown some interest in those departments. And then that's sent along to anybody who is hiring as a key or head of the department. And you may get a call. You may be asked to come in for a day or so, or you may not get a call. Like, you just don't know unless you try. So I know some people who did send in the resumes have actually worked on productions this year.
That's amazing. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Natasha.
You're welcome.
And let's see, we have another guest here I want to move into. Oh, we have Amy House. Hi, Amy.
Hi, how you doing, Arlette?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Can you introduce yourself, Amy, to the students? What do you do?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Amy House. I am presently the business manager for the Directors Guild of Canada. So like Natasha, our guild represents people who work in the film industry, just different people. So for the Directors Guild of Canada, which we call the DGC, and I will paste that's the NLDGC there, if you want to go and have a look. We represent directors, assistant directors. So there's a first and second and third assistant director. And there's also trailer ADs, people who help in the trailers. We also represent locations people, locations managers, assistant locations managers, the art department. We also represent post-production, so picture and sound editing. I think I've mentioned everybody. So we're like the union for those positions on a film set. And it takes, a little while of experience and training before you can become a member of the DGC, but you can be hired as a permittee. So if you are looking for work and you can get a hold of the producers and see if you can get in on the ground level, because the industry we are really young here in Newfoundland and Labrador, and we're all gung-ho to grow the industry, which I think is a lot of what this is all about. And we're so excited to see young high school students who are interested in the film business, because that's what's going to keep us going and growing. So I invite you to check out the DGC, and hopefully we can get you in on the floor sometime once you finish your 5-minute film or 3-minute film.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Amy, for sharing. And now I wanted to ask, we have Marlene Cahill. Did I say that correctly?
Close enough.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get.
Yeah, see if I can see you.
I'm trying to get it to start video. There we go.
Oh, hi, Marlene.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm Marlene Cowell. I'm with ACTRA. ACTRA is a national union representing performers right across Canada. We have branches in pretty well every province. We represent performers in all recorded media. If you're in front of a camera or a microphone, it does come under the ACTRA agreement. We have different levels of membership based on the type of work you're doing. You can join as an additional background performer, which requires 15 days of background work, or you need one contract in a residual category, basically speaking, to join as an apprentice member, and you move from apprentice to full membership.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me questions. I'm way better at questions.
Well, Marlene, when you say represent, what exactly does that mean?
Represent?
Yeah.
We negotiate collective agreements with the Producers Association. All performers who are working on productions such as Hudson and Rex, Astrid and Lily, would work under a contract that's negotiated under that collective agreement.
I see. What would you say actors or anyone really in front of a camera, what are some mistakes that they do or that they don't know? And that's where you guys go inside, like you guys go there to the rescue, I would say.
One, they're all perfect and they don't make any mistakes. And Paul Pope is laughing at me now. Number two, we don't actually represent them on creative content and things along those lines. We're all around the business and the money side of it, the health and safety but you know, what you're talking about would be done by, you know, the directors or the ADs giving instruction or direction on set.
Yeah. Okay. And how did you find yourself working there?
Well, I've been working here for 33 years, so I don't know if I really remember. But I actually started out at the LSPU Hall working first box office and then administration at the LSPU Hall, and I moved over from the LSPU Hall to ACTRA.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, let's see, who else do we have here? Back to you. See. Mary, can you hear me? You're muted.
Sorry, I was typing something about Marlene, and I was just saying that we're very fortunate to have Marlene.
Oh, what do you say? Why do you say that? I'm curious.
I say that because as a producer, I've sat on the bargaining for ACTRA negotiations now 3 times, maybe 4 times in my career. And when I see the problems that other jurisdictions have with ACTRA, we're very, very fortunate here that we have Marlene, because she's always a phone call away, or you know, a face-to-face meeting, and she's always made sure that her members were taken care of and that we worked with her. And if we saw someone through the LSPU Hall or saw an actor or a background that we wanted to bring into the industry, she was always very forthcoming with information to get that said person into the industry. So
that's wonderful. It's wonderful. So it's something that you guys recommend our students to start thinking about, really contact them. Oh, we have, thank you, awesome. Really contact and be part of these unions.
Well, it's also what your aptitude is. You know, if you want to be an actor, do you want to be behind the scenes? You know, what is, you know, we used to laugh years ago, because I have done a bunch of Holy Heart bring students into my office, and, you know, some would come and would go, well, I'd like to be a director, and think that they're going to be a director right away, or they're going to be a writer right away, or and you know, so you sort of have to sort of think about what it is you want and where you want to be within this industry. But you also have to think about, you know, what's your end game. You know, like you might go in as an actor, but then you might be a great director, or you might go in, you know, I bring a lot of people in through locations, and I sort of see if they have, you know, 14-hour days every day for 5 days and overtime included. That's a long, hard week. So if you have that aptitude and you have that perseverance, and, you know, you can come back and be there to, you know, to be part of the team, then yes, come on in. We want you. We are looking for, as Amy said, we are looking for young, bright Newfoundlanders to want to be part of this industry. It's a business, it's an industry, it's not a hobby. You go to work, you get your job done, and you get satisfaction, because at the end of the day, you're part of a great team.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, thank you. And I think Mark just joined us. Mark O'Neill. Can you hear me? Oh, there you
Hi,
are.
everybody. Yeah, I'm inclined to keep it on mute, but hi, great to be here.
Hi, Mark. Do you mind introducing us to yourself for the students?
Sure, sure. My name is Mark O'Neill. I started in this business doing commercials in the mid to late 90s, and then started doing features and commercials, and I ended up working on great works, lots of Mary produced. Thank you, Mary. And I was probably producing or working as a camera assistant for about 15 years, lots of it away and elsewhere, but never really moved away because I didn't want to, but I'd go to Toronto for 3 or 5 months if I had to. And in 2015, I started to produce, and I've been producing some of my own stuff since then. So, and every now and then I get to go out and play in the camera department. So that's great.
That's awesome. What advice do you have for students wanting to enter the film industry?
I suppose probably the key thing is get ready to absorb. Come in and prepare yourself as best you can. There's no learning it all ahead of time. You're going to pick it up. Everything is so specific to the location or the shoot day or the show. Notepads are great. Some departments lean on them heavily, others don't. But when you're starting out, you'll find that everybody is so supportive and everybody is so giving, and that knowledge and that support will carry on for years. At some point, you'll get to a plateau where, like, okay, you should know by now, and people are not going to be holding you by the hand, but you'll be in good shape by then. But I guess preparation, but also learn from your mistakes. I think we're all cool with mistakes in our film industry. I think what really burns the bosses or the heads of departments is the same mistakes over and over again. So you can't have that. You know, we all know ourselves that that's a thing. So making a mistake, no problem. Be sure to own up to it, wear it. That's just a part of it. We all appreciate someone taking that responsibility, builds trust as well in the department. So that's a couple of thoughts.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Anna, I want to go back to you. What advice do you have for aspiring actors to really work with Newfoundland production teams, production companies?
You mean for actors?
Yeah.
Oh, so I don't have a huge, that's not my background. I think maybe Marlene should answer that one from ACTRA.
Yeah,
But,
Marlene, go ahead.
But at the same time, I would never not speak to an actor if they wanted to contact us at Nifco, because actually acting on Nifco films and entry-level filmmaking courses, our film classes shoot films. They're always looking for people to act in those films, and our programs are looking for casting, but we work mostly with Marlene on that. So I'll throw it to her. Yeah.
So Marlene, you want to answer that? Like, with aspiring actors, what can they do?
Really, the first thing they should be doing is signing up for Casting by Maggie, any of the different casting sites on Facebook, Women in Film. Lots of stuff gets posted there, one either after the ACTRA process. So if they haven't filled all the requirements within the ACTRA membership, they can then go outside. So you'll find those things listed on places like Casting Like Maggie, Women in Film. There's a couple of them. Basically, ACTRA members have preference of audition and preference of engagement. So your first opportunity to actually get into the union and be part of the process, you should take advantage of it. That's the best way, really, to get in there. You start getting notice of audition calls. As I said, you then have preference of audition. You're looked up first and separately before any kind of outside call. So basically, watch the sites like Casting, get your first credit, and then become part of the casting process. Any volunteer, small productions, anything you can do to get yourself on camera, I would do it. Background work can be really lucrative, especially if you end up on greeting vouchers instead of weights. You know, if you're available, there's been lots of high school shows going on since the beginning of the summer, and hopefully one or two of those will be coming back. They've been desperate for background performers, and getting on set, getting to know people, getting to see how things work. That's the best way to get your foot through the door.
Wonder, what do you think about doing their own kind of show? Because other people on the symposium said they should put themselves out there, not necessarily wait, you know what I mean? Like shooting their own thing and putting themselves on the camera. What do you think about that? Does that help?
I have to tell you, we have a very long history in this province of people doing exactly that. Of like, our people who write, produce, direct, and perform, who do it all. I have members who say they'd never get hired if they didn't hire themselves. Not true, but
I'll just add, because I started off years ago as an actor in high school, and then I went to theater school at York University, and before I moved into film. And so I would say to everybody in high school, just act, audition for your high school plays, connect to the theater community, to the summer festival community. Theater and live performance, especially here in Newfoundland, is also a direct segue into the film industry. We always look to that community. You don't have to start out on camera to get on camera here, or really the craft of acting can start in your high school plays, or in community theater, in professional theater, and segue naturally into film as well. I would just say that. Practice your craft.
Yeah, I ditto to that, Janice, and that's just it. Not just putting yourself on, you can do your YouTube videos, you can do that, and that's a great avenue now. Now it's very, the world is, a small melting pot, but I do think getting into any local theater troupe, or just calling someone and say, I'd like to have a conversation with you. Are you interested? Are you looking? And get in touch with Maggie Casting, but also talk to your theater teacher, talk to whoever, wherever you can get, yourself be seen and be part of the community. We are looking for you.
That's great. And I wonder, what do you think about getting critiques, but also not losing your own voice? What do you think about that? Let's, with you, Mary, for example.
Well, I grew up with a father who really believed in, telling you exactly how bad you were and how, you probably would never make anything of yourself. So I probably am not the best person to talk to about that, but that, because we have all evolved over the past 40 years, or 60 now for me coming up, I feel that, we all get a little sensitive. We all are sensitive, and we're because of COVID, I think we've become even more sensitive. So I think that you've got to take everything, treat it professionally, and don't think criticism is, I get criticized all the time. I criticize myself. So don't take criticism, work with the criticism to make your craft better. To think about it. I was chastised this week because I spoke to people very directly because they weren't doing their job. And then I thought, but you weren't doing your job, but you have to actually tell people sometimes, this is like every minute that we're making movies it costs. So I want everybody to show up, be smart, be safe, be conscious, and most importantly, be respectful. Be respectful of your space, be respectful of the people that you're around, and just be respectful. And I have a tendency to raise my voice and sort of, I don't mean to demean somebody, but I put people to task. And I realize now you can't actually do that every day now. That's not my father's way of teaching. Now we have to be very, very conscious of people's approach and how they react to me being in their space. So I say to you, yes, sometimes you are criticized, sometimes you may not have done the right thing, like Mark said, if you make a mistake, own it, and then we move on, and then you learn from that mistake. And if you do something great, we're so quick to say you did something wrong, but we're not as quick to say, great job, great job. And I try my damnedest, even when there isn't a great job, to say, great job, you did it, we got through it, now let's go on to the next day, and you're going to do another 14-hour day, and it's going to be fabulous. You're going to love it.
Awesome. Mark, do you have anything to say about that?
If nobody says anything, it's probably perfect. If you just ask Mark, I don't know if you said Mark or Marlene, sorry.
Mark.
Okay, you go ahead, Mark.
No, go ahead, Marlene. I want to hear what you got to say.
I was just going to say, critique and direction are two very, very different things. The director is in charge of the set. It is the director's vision, and the director is going to direct the performer in the performance they want to attain, and that is the director's right. So, you have to be very clear on when you're being directed and, when it's critiqued. So mainly that's the only thing I would add there to what Mary said.
Okay.
I
Oh, sorry. Allison, you raised your hand.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I've been working on set as a technician for many, many years, and you need to have a thick skin and a duck's back. You need to be able to take criticism, and you need to be able to take it, forget about it for the moment, but not forget about it completely. So if you're on set and you get criticized or something happens, you made a mistake, just like Mark said, you own up to it, you take the criticism, and you move on from it, because you can't hold on to it in a 14-hour day where everything's still continuing on and happening and happening and happening. You don't have time in that moment to go, oh gosh, what did I do wrong, and reassess it. You just have to go, yep, I did something wrong. Okay, what's next? And then, for me, when I was, back when I was a camera trainee, I would take everything and I would sit in my car at the end of the day, after the 15-hour day, sit in the car. Before I left the parking lot, I would go over anything that went wrong. And then I'd think about it and be like, hey, how could I do that better? What am I going to change next time? And then that's it. You leave it in the parking lot and you go home. You can't harp on it. You can't dwell on it all night, but you do have to give yourself that moment, because that's how we learn and how we grow, right? So it's an important thing. You have to have thick skin, but a duck's back. That's all my point.
Thank you. Amy, you want to take it away?
Hi, thanks. Yeah, I'm just going to lower my, thank you. That is very good advice. And my background is as an actor. And if you flub a line on stage in the middle of the show, you can't continue to think about that line. You got to go, okay, I flubbed the line and move on. You still got the rest of the show to do. So it's the same context. What I wanted to say about coming to work in film is that I know it sounds all so abstract right now, and not understanding the roles and people who work on the film behind the scenes. We're talking about actors because it's something we understand, but film really can use a lot of transferable skills. Like if you are a high school student who's great at math and you want to do accounting or you want to do bookkeeping, we in the film industry need people like you. The DGC also represents accountants and people who work in the office. So anybody who has office skills, anybody who is a great organizer, who is, and I think that was said, but there are many, if you feel you want to work in the film industry, figure out what it is that you're good at and let a producer know. And you know, you get in the door and they figure out where you fit best. And so don't get hung up on all these titles and job descriptions. We just need people who are enthusiastic, who are smart, who are ready and willing to work, and who want to be a part of an exciting lifestyle.
That's great. Thank you so much, Amy. Well, we have 2 minutes left. Do you have, any of you have any last comments, maybe an encouragement for our students? Really, anyone? Let's see. Yeah, go ahead, Natasha.
I just posted up a website in the chat, ourwork.ca. And on that website, there's a bunch of like small videos about the different positions that are covered by IATSE, but there's also a skills calculator. So you can go in and kind of check off some of the skills that you have, and then it takes it all and it spits out the jobs that you might actually be a good fit for, because not everybody wants to be an actor or a director or a producer. You may want to work in hair and makeup. You may want to paint sets. You may want to build props. You may want to set up lighting. Like there's a lot of technical work that is available, and you may not be someone who wants to be in front of the camera or at the top of the budget. And you may already have skills to be on the path to do one of those technical jobs. So if you go to that website, it'll give you a bit of information. The local 709 here doesn't necessarily cover every single position that is out at 891, which is out in BC, but they're very similar. And it's a great place to start to learn a little bit, and that'll help guide you either to DGC or to IATSE or to ACTRA, and kind of find out, or to the camera union, to find your path of where you want to start.
Thank you. That is actually a great point, because there's so many different roles in the film industry. So definitely take a note of that. And with that, I want to thank our panel for showing up and giving us all this information. And I'm sure the students really appreciate it. And for everybody else, let's see, take 5 minutes. We'll be back at 8. Thank you so much for coming here, guys.
Thank you.